Game in Belfast, where Ulster haven't been beaten for more than 2 years. Talking us through it against the game against Glasgow is Stephen Ferris, John Barkley, alongside Mark Robson.
Ulster's on the road nosebleeds, being staunch. 2 away wins in Wales already this season, and winning form here has never been an issue. So a 100% start for Glasgow. Last week's home comfort was a messy burglary. They'd left a window open. The Scots conceded a try bonus point. Late change in the Ulster side. Eric O'Sullivan comes in for Jack McGrath. Marcel Coetzee returns after a niggle. Sean Reedy makes his 100th Celtic League appearance. And 6 internationals in that pack. The back line, Luke Marshall makes his first start of the season. Stuart Moore moves from 13 to 12. Ian Madigan in at 10. Billy Burns is with Ireland. Glasgow also make a number of changes for their last game against Leinster. A defeat. Summer signing Puma Enrique Pereto makes his first start. Rob Harley has been released from the Scotland squad, who are preparing for the Autumn Cup. Ryan Wilson is the captain. Starman Nico Matawalu is on the wing. Sean Kennedy is in late for Jamie Doby at scrum half. Robbie Ferguson makes his first Glasgow start in 5 years. And Peter Horne is in the turn shirt for the 3rd game in a row. There's Dan McFarland, of course, has done a lot of work in his past in Scotland, so he will know a lot of these Glasgow players very well indeed. And let's remember that Glasgow's general record in this competition is excellent. Winners 5 years ago, beaten finalists also, several times semi-finalists. Glasgow have been a common denominator when it comes to the Guinness Championship playoffs, losing in the final to Leinster the season before last. Yes, they've made a poor start to this season, but Glasgow have a serious reputation in this competition, very much historically one of the big boys. And remember, they did win a Celtic Championship final in this very stadium in 2015 when they hammered Munster. The Autumn Cup starts next week, so Glasgow have a load of players away with Scotland and Fiji too. And of course, players of the class of Stuart Hogg and Johnny Gray moved to Exeter. There's a new coach in harness, Danny Wilson, in for the new Wallabies coach, Dave Rennie. Well, they must be confident. Ulster managed the game well in poor conditions in Cardiff's borrowed home of Newport last week. Deserved the win. Ulster finished last season with 4 losses in 5. 3 were knockout matches, but have started the new season fast with those 4 straight wins. And at the Kingspan, Ulster have dispatched Benetton and the Dragons without too much trouble, with 75 points and 11 tries scored. And a pretty experienced referee, Nigel Owens, who whistled the recent Champions Cup final between Exeter and Racing, one of 7 Champions Cup finals Owens has handled. He's also reffed a World Cup final, and he was in charge in 2015 when Glasgow won the Celtic Championship here.
Okay, I'm sure they're behind you then, okay? Okay.
Well, last season, remember, Ulster lost in the PRO14 final. They were knocked out in the Champions Cup quarter-final. Big games against big names, but Ulster have reset very well and have played with real energy at times in the fledgling stages of this new campaign. Glasgow have lost their last 5 games against Irish provinces. Will it be number 6 tonight? Remember how many players they're missing to the Scottish camp, the Fiji camp, and there's a few injuries on top of that as well. And there is Sean Kennedy, a very late change to this Glasgow side. It was George Horne who started at 9 last week against Leinster, but he is one of those players who's away with Scotland. Ian Madigan at 10. Here is Eric O'Sullivan getting that late call for Jack McGrath. O'Sullivan scored his first try for Ulster against the Dragons, and now Matt Fadez on that left wing tonight for Ulster, the former Highlander. And Cooney gets the ball to Kieran Treadwell. Had a good game last week against Cardiff. Carried well. Those little tip-on offloads from Treadwell that the Ulster forwards have made a trademark this season. They're all at it. And here is Michael Lowry. Tries in the 10 shirt and the 15 shirt this season. And Glasgow working really hard at that breakdown, and 2 former back row forwards beside me would have enjoyed that.
Around the body.
I'm just not quite sure. That was great to watch a bit. Ulster play there, some good hands, but not going anywhere particularly. I think in these conditions, after a couple of phases in the middle of the pitch, you probably don't want to have the ball. And looking at Glasgow, their tackle success is the best in the competition so far. They're not going to miss many tackles, and right there, when you put onto that, putting some big shots in, a lot of aggression at the start of the game, maybe an opportunity missed there from Ulster just to put their foot on the ball, pin Glasgow back.
Yeah, 91% tackle success rate Glasgow this season. Yeah, two fine back row forwards.
On the line, lads, please,
alongside me this evening. John Barclay was more HGV to Stephen Ferris's GBH.
Oh, you've been thinking that one up for weeks, Robbo, haven't you?
Grant Stewart is the Glasgow hooker tonight, and they've had to dig deep into their squad. Ryan Wilson, who's such experience in that Glasgow shirt and a Scottish shirt too. The Glasgow captain. Here's Grant Stewart for Sean Kennedy now. Nico Matawalu, 43 tries he has scored for Glasgow. One of the serious danger men, and rampaging forward here Glasgow, making a really dynamic and energetic start. So they'll be building confidence through this as Robbie Ferguson takes it on, his first game for Glasgow in 5 years. Looking good here are Glasgow. Peter Horn at number 10, one of those internationals, 9 of them in the 23. Despite being diluted, Eric O'Sullivan flopping in off his feet there. Nigel Owens watches closely. And it's Ulster on the back foot very much here, having to make all the tackles, doing all of the defending. Matawalu goes in at scrum half, where of course he has played
back
as a starting 9. Kennedy, Sayuli, ex-Highlanders, Sayuli and Kennedy. It's Tom Gordon standing off. Good game last week against Leinster. 17 tackles from 17, real nuggety 7. Scored a try too. Now TJ Ioane. Here's Sean Kennedy, and here's Matawalu, and here is that slicing danger. He can cut any defence apart.
Release now!
And on they go through Stafford McDowell, and now Matawalu again. He's sprightly, he snipes, but he's got a bit of strength as well. And now Kennedy looks for support. Ulster are really rocked here in this first 4 minutes of the game. Can they hold out? Glasgow would be very deserving of a try at this stage.
On the line.
Great start. I mean, that doesn't look like a team, Stevie. We spent most of the pre-match talking about the fact that they're missing a lot of guys. That looks like a team that's played together for a long time. They've obviously been training, but they're fizzing passes. That was continuity. Short balls, long ones going wide. Pete Horn really pulling the strings nicely there.
TJ Ioane just on your screen there. He's really up for it tonight, but look at this pull back, and it's Matawalu around the corner. He probably should have given it, but look at that for a pickup by McDowell. And then from here, the heavies, they want the ball, but a brilliant initial line break, and Fades does well actually to hinge in as last man. But what a start to this match, and Glasgow were here. John and I were sitting in the warm-up, we're standing right beside the warm-up, and these guys were certainly up for it tonight. Brilliant start.
It's going to be Peter Horn with the conversion attempt. No Adam Hastings, he's with Scotland, though he's out long term with a shoulder injury anyway, so wouldn't have been available in any state. But TJ Ioane started in the number 7 shirt in all 4 games in the World Cup for Samoa, and he brings a real heavyweight presence to that back row.
Yeah, he certainly does. That head of hair as well, was when he goes into impact, it just seems to emphasize the impact even more, but
so you will kick in.
He's got his tail up for sure.
Somewhere, yeah.
Picked up a couple of yellows in the World Cup as well. He can boil over, TJ.
Can't have one without the other, I think.
Madigan's restart. Well, what a shock here for Ulster. They've made really good beginnings to their home matches this season against Benetton and the Dragons.
It's inside.
But Glasgow look really motivated, really energised on the evidence of the first 6 minutes of this match. Michael Lowry. Look at that pace, and we saw that pace when he scored that try against Cardiff last week. The bobbling ball off the back of the scrummage, and Michael Lowry accelerated past 3 defenders Matt Fattes, will that hold up? No, it won't. Sean Kennedy sweeping like all excellent scrum halves do.
Chris, speak
Right,
to
idea
them.
thing, isn't it? I think they've probably realised
Tell
they're
him he should be
overplaying
hiding
that,
on
in
the
that
kick,
middle
he's
third of the
very
pitch and
tight,
just
okay?
deciding to
Let
thread that
Glasgow
ball
the
through. But
chase, him with the guy
going to
inside
Glasgow,
him.
I think,
Very tight.
how good to see the
That's
leader
what
standing
we
up
are,
in that
please.
first patch. You had Ryan Wilson carrying the ball, Peter Horn pulling the strings, TJ Ioane,
behind,
you know,
boys.
the guys who have played for this team for a number of years, who know the way they play. They're the guys when you're away from home. It's a bit where you got inexperienced guys, you know, although Ryan said before the game, I'm not going to hold their hands. Equally, these guys are looking like they want to lead from the front.
John Cooney, there's one of those tip-ons from Marcel Coetzee, and Ulster be very pleased to see Marcel Cornelius Coetzee back in that Ulster shirt. Now it's Madigan on the inside for Eric O'Sullivan, the hyper-mobile loosehead prop. Craig Gilroy is on his shoulder. You will see the forwards offloading in this Ulster side. It's been a characteristic of this season. Now Treadwell, a former winger, would you believe? And that's where he was in that wide channel. And then chases and hunts Bryce down at fullback.
Surely a high tackle there, Robbo, no?
Okay, Ews, please, 9 Ews.
Ulster realising they are very much in a game of rugby here at the Kingspan Stadium.
Leave 4 go now. Leave 4 go.
Monday Night Rugby in
Okay,
Belfast.
please.
Sean Kennedy, former
I've called it 9, let's
Edinburgh
go.
player, taking as much time as Nigel Owens will allow him to get that clearing kick away.
Yeah, it was great play by Ulster, wasn't it? Getting on the outside, Kieran Treadwell holding his width, putting a nice little grubber through, as you referenced there, Robbo. Played on the wing, and it held up nicely. I thought he might have got
Show your wingers on behind
there might have been a bit of a high tackle, but he got away with it. Nigel Owens just letting the game flow.
You were a fan of that kick, Stevie, were you? I thought that's maybe that was an indication of why he's a former wing and not a wing.
Outside, good space, boys, please. Good space. Come up, please. Come up. Come up.
John Andrew, Ulster's starting hooker
That's good.
tonight, and that's a good
Go
throw
back,
to Sam Carter, the captain of Ulster this
you're on
evening.
now.
Former co-captain of the Brumbies in Australia. What a win it was for Australia against New Zealand in Brisbane. I think Dave Rennie and the squad are still rehydrating down there.
Stay there.
That's John Cooney.
He's through the middle.
Didn't make the Ireland squad, controversially in the eyes of some.
Reload and release. Good.
Maybe just not favoured
No, he
by
didn't get his hand, he
Andy
just touched the
Farrell.
ball with his
Something
hand.
Danny Kerr
Wasn't
suggested
pulling,
this week in a
Not
podcast.
quite.
He felt he was a player quite similar to Cooney, and Andy Farrell, when he was
Hands up,
England,
boys.
didn't pick him that
He's too
often
slow
either.
going, and the ruck is beating you. Tackler preventing him getting in any quicker. Tackler, move quicker, please. Ruck beating you as well. Yeah, but the tackler was too slow going. Prevented anybody coming in to get the ball.
There's one thing about Nigel Owens, he does give you a full explanation.
You can hear Nigel at the best of times with the full stadium. It's actually great to be able to stand here and you can hear everything. You can hear him. He's making it perfectly clear. He's one of those refs, you know exactly whether you like or lump it. You know if you're in the right or in the wrong, and that's what the players like. That's what I liked as a player, Stevie. You knew exactly where you stood, and you maybe stood up and shook your head. And 2 minutes later, once this sort of the red mist had kind of cleared, you realise, yeah, I was probably wrong there.
Stay, lads. The line us over. Stay.
93% with his throws this season. John Andrew's been really accurate. That's Kieran Treadwell takes that ball. And this is where Ireland or Ulster have been really effective, with Rob Herring in particular in that 2-shirt, just controlling the drive and rumbling close. Looks like John Cooney is going to hoover the ball a bit wider. Stuart Moore has played 12 and 13 already this season. Now Madigan, that looked high. Surely that was
high.
Oh, definitely high. So penalty coming. There might be more. It looked pretty vicious, but the dynamism onto the ball was hard and fast as well.
Advantage. Move quicker.
Here is Cooney, and now it's Michael Lowry trying to get on the outside. Looks for Gilroy inside. Here's Stuart Moore. Matawalu drives Moore towards touch.
No advantage.
Well, might be listening to Nigel Owens for a bit longer here, Robbo. That's
8.
It looks like a high shot
quicker.
in midfield. I think the line speed of Glasgow getting off the line, putting the Ulster
Ian,
attack under pressure.
Tackler.
We're just going to see it again here.
Penalty only. Get him down, please. Ian.
We've seen people go for that recently, haven't we? I mean, there's no malice in there, is there? But it's
okay, penalty only. Lads, you've got a penalty here
the way
for
the
not
game
moving,
is now. You've
or
seen
back there
those
for
go
the high.
sometimes.
There's about 10 metres in between the both. Yeah? Yeah, I have. It's a penalty only.
Isn't it? Tagivi, the winger.
Just over the shoulder. Penalty only.
But just a penalty, says
Get
Nigel Owens.
tackles down, please, lads. Brian, tackles down.
Saw 2 red cards in that game in Brisbane for... Thanks, George. Well, they were shoulder shots to the head. But nothing more than a penalty. So here's John Andrew again. Another opportunity for Ulster, another good line out. Sam Carter, he's a real exponent in that area. Such an athlete, and here they come thundering forward. Ulster blasting in progress. Get the hard hats on, and it's John Andrew doing the job that Rob Herring normally does for Ulster. Super stuff. It's like a scene from Jumanji. Hippos and rhinos crashing through the wall.
Oh, I love it, Robbo, but what a try from Ulster. Sam Carter, 100+ caps for the Brumbies. He's the man that's taken a couple of lineouts here at the start of this match, and once they get momentum, John Andrew with the best head of hair in world rugby. Ian Madigan might dispute that, but he gets over for the try, and it's probably what Ulster deserve. And what a game of rugby we have on our hands tonight.
That's what Ryan Wilson said before the game. They expected a lot of this line-out maul, scrum, direct play, and you know, we kind of bemoaned that before the game, Dan Cave and I, and maybe we don't really know what we're talking about. I just think if you're them now, if you're an Ulster team now, you're going to be saying more of the same. You know, they had a kickable shot there, decided to put it in the corner at the start of the game, but you very much expect them to go direct now, take Glasgow on up front.
Best head of hair on a hooker. Can I put forward the case of Kamil Shah, please?
Zarzeski, former player.
Yeah. Got to keep quiet because John Cooney can probably hear us up here on commentary. It is so quiet in the stadium, but it certainly didn't put him off. The slot machine strikes again.
Yeah, John Cooney, ever reliable, isn't he? Been in Ireland camp, got a bit of a taste for it over the last few weeks, but he's back here in the white of Ulster, and the Ulster fans are loving him, loving seeing him back out there, and he will do that all night long if Glasgow give them the opportunity.
Taken by Craig Gilroy. He's been marooned on 55 tries in the Celtic League for quite a while now. He's trying to hunt down DTH van der Merwe on 58 and Tim Visser. 2 men, of course, who played a lot of rugby in Scotland. It was DTH actually who scored the try that beat Ulster in the semi-final a number of years ago, the semi-final victory that took them here to win the championship. So Ulster, if they had beaten Glasgow and Scotland, would have had a home final. But we're over it here at Ulster, Mr. Bartley.
No more of that.
Just laughing at hearing Nigel Owens quite clearly making his thoughts clear.
Backwards. Stay.
I was also thinking it's probably not such a bad thing to be marooned on 55 tries. I think I was marooned on about 5 for my whole career, so it's all about context, I suppose.
Will he get some opportunities tonight? Craig Gilroy, he scored 2 hat-tricks for Ireland. Oh, good footwork. Just bounced away, jumped out of the grasp of Grant Stewart there. Treadwell doing a fair bit of carrying, as he did last week. 14 carries against Cardiff, 14 tackles from 15, so good work, great from Treadwell down in Newport, Cardiff's current home ground.
Yeah, both sides just feeling each other out. A couple of good high takes from Craig Gilroy. And he'll be looking to add that tally, as you said, Robbo.
Come here, please.
Only 29 years of age. It's amazing, isn't it? He feels like he's been around for so long.
You were clearly pushing that ball onto a player underneath, looking for the penalty. If you do it again, I'll penalise you.
As soon as you mention Craig Gilroy, everybody can just remember that try he scored down in Limerick in the quarter-final against Munster. There's still a bit left in him, I think.
The tackler had gone clearly out of the way.
It's full of chat tonight, Nigel Owens. Did you see the video on Twitter this week when Wayne Barnes took him on a roller coaster in Japan during the World Cup? Very funny. Here's Stuart Moore. It's worth checking out, let me tell you. Nice Sam Carter. Cooney once more, getting some front football. There's Madigan, now Michael Lowry, that pace on the outside. Faddes, nice little kick by Faddes. Tagive goes back, here's Michael Lowry. Oh, the inside flick for Luke Marshall.
Forward
Can he
White.
make it to the line on his return after 9 months away?
Forward by White call.
Did look as if it went forward. Looked like it might have been a forward pass
Cheers,
anyway, but Luke Marshall coming oh so close, and he's had those frustrations with injury for so long.
Timeout.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? Got the scrum cap on, but every time Ulster go wide, they seem to be getting a bit of ground. Nice, another nice kick in behind. Matt Faddes, Sevens player, plenty of gas. Doesn't get his foot to it. And it's back inside. Look,
You
Marshall
mean the pass,
picks it up.
Chris, yeah, not the...
But
pass,
just
the
doesn't get
knockback
over. I
was
think
by
Nigel
Blue.
Owens
Yeah,
calling
good
it back
man. Thank
for.
you. Cheers, thanks.
Was it a forward pass, Robbo?
Huh?
Just here.
Yeah,
the pass-
it looked
pass was
forward,
forward.
didn't it?
Yeah, that's scrum.
Look
Yeah,
forward.
Wait on the injury.
And by the way, Robbo, you're not allowed to mention Wayne Barnes ever again when I'm in your company, if that's okay. Thank you.
Interesting. Glasgow, I think, for me, looked like a team that spent a lot of time working on their cohesion in attack. Defensively, a couple of times also could have gone earlier. They've kicked, but they look a little bit short. They look a little bit narrow. I don't know whether they're expecting also to kick the ball earlier. The conditions actually look like they've cleared up quite nicely here. So it just looks like they're just not quite got that cohesion. Everyone, when you talk about cohesion with rugby, you think about attack, you think about slickness of moves, but there's a cohesion element to defence where you're pushing, you're pulling, you're getting your width, and you've got your key leaders, you know, really leading that defence. It looks like right now, it looks like they're a little bit in ones and twos in defence.
Stafford McDowell has recovered. Nick Grigg and Sam Johnson played pretty well last week in that Glasgow midfield against Leinster, in particular Sam Johnson, who beat a number of defenders, and Nick Grigg, of course,
Right,
he's always hard to stop. A little bit of a cannonball is Grigg.
Black, sorry.
Kieran MacDonald in the second row with Rob Harley, who's been released by Scotland. Harley's 236th appearance for Glasgow. Among the number of players missing, Scott Cummings, who's really matured fast in a Glasgow shirt and now a Scotland shirt. He's been superb on that run of victories for the Scots. Scotland, who begin the Autumn Cup in Florence next week against Italy.
Stability, lads. Crouch. Bind.
First scrum of the game.
Set.
Somebody must be going right after 16 minutes.
Keep the height. Keep the binds and pressure up. Bind and pressure up.
Sayuli on the loose head side.
Come back, 9.
Robbie Ferguson, now Sean Kennedy. Robbie Ferguson's a cancer survivor. He's had his health issues through his career. The former Scotland Sevens international who played at the World Cup in San Francisco.
Good work in the scrum, lads.
In a weird way, to me, that as exciting as watching a try being scored. That's your nuts and bolts of your game. That's what a team like Saracens built their game on a lot of the time. Just defence, just getting out of sticky situations. Glasgow were under the pump there. They could have conceded a try. A knock on. Next, you know, great scrum, one face plate, and an absolutely outstanding kick by Sean Kent. And now, you know, pressure relieved, pressure's back on Ulster.
And Ryan Wilson was in there at number 8. Not the man actually wearing number 8.
Yeah.
Here is John Cooney, and it's Matt Faddes. Tagive goes back there, and it's Bryce who picks it up and gets away from Marcel Coetzee. Tagive crabs over the ball. Ulster desperately trying to counter ruck. But here comes TJ Ioane. Eric O'Sullivan, who's got a huge tackle count for Ulster. And now it's Peter Horn trying to play the territory game. Michael Lowry is back there, drills it low and finds a decent bit of distance.
Yeah, I think Paul chatting to Paul Marshall before the game, he really wanted to ask Dan about that man Michael Lowry and his position at 15. And you know, you're walking around the streets in Belfast talking Ulster rugby, the people want to see him playing in that number 10 jersey. They really do. He's played a lot of rugby for school, club in the number 10 jersey. But again, he's wearing 15. I think it's just good to see him on the pitch.
Keep that space, it's good.
I've heard about you walking the streets of Belfast, talking about Ulster rugby, hoping that people still recognise you.
It's better in the streets of Bangor, Robbo.
Good.
Good line out to Ryan Wilson. Well, not quite what Ulster wanted from that.
4.
And the man
Compete to the ball, yeah, you bumped into him and you caused him to go down, and they can't set up the ball, can they?
Glasgow, who lost 4 lineouts last week, including 3 in a row, and some of those were in very dangerous attacking positions. Well, that was a bit of a thumpy boot, getting Glasgow into a good position.
Make sure your lifters take
31-13,
you up,
Glasgow
okay, not
beat
across.
Munster in this stadium 5 years ago now. Leone Nakarawa was brilliant on that day. Finn Russell star. Glasgow scored 4 tries.
Meet the gap, lads, please.
So there's certainly fond memories of this place. Grant Stewart, oh, poor overthrow. John Andrew, Ulster's try scorer, comes away with the ball. But that's a second penalty in a row conceded by Ulster.
Isolated.
And, isolation is desolation, as Joe Schmidt likes to say.
What? Give you a go, Pete. Can't give you the points.
What do you think of the adaptation to that law at the breakdown, John? As a 7 specialist yourself, you've got to show to the referee that you're trying to pull the ball.
I think it's a great change. I wish I hadn't retired now, really. I think it's interesting how it changes and the priority of the game changes, and it felt like for a long time it was just all give the benefit to the attack, give the benefit to the attack, and there's a lot of work goes into that kind of skill, and the Richie McCaws of the world and the George Smiths. These guys were taking hammerings, and you think of the kind of damage they would do today, but I think it's quite right. I think it's for me one of the hardest skills to do mentally and physically, to put yourself in that position. A lot of injuries come, so it takes a lot to put yourself in those positions. But I think it's great to say put yourself in those awkward positions, and you get rewarded now.
Peter Horn, another fine strike from him, and with 20 minutes gone, first quarter finished. Perfect opportunity for us to bring in Darren Cave, the former Ulster and Ireland centre. Darren, what do you think as a back, all forwards up here, of the shape of the game so far?
I think it's been a good game. I don't think either side would be that concerned the way things are sitting at the minute. We expected Ulster to come out on top at the end of this evening, as they may still do that. But for Glasgow to get that score, and then I think Ulster have held the ball really well. They're unlucky not to get a second score up in here, but Glasgow just nudging in front there. So I think we're getting a great game, and hopefully more to come.
Off goes Matawalu, driven back by Sam Carter.
Stay. Okay, yeah, all on.
That's
good.
Bryce. And here is Madigan now. Michael Lowry loves to keep the ball in hand. I think kicking's the last resort.
Good work,
for the former out half. Here is Gilroy, and now Moore for Treadwell again, popping up in that wide channel, where you will often find forwards lurking in this Ulster shape. Cooney for Madigan to Carter.
Backwards, always backwards.
It's gone backwards, but it's gone loose, and Sayuli has pounced on the ball. Now Kennedy, and it might have been intercepted by Luke Marshall. Maybe tried to go for the ball instead.
Yeah, no advantage.
He went for Tom Gordon, and he certainly got Tom Gordon.
Backwards. Back on here.
Great ball by Tom Gordon there. It looked like, I think P. Horn will be disappointed that he didn't hold on to that and probably just looked up and saw the space in behind. But again, Tom Gordon, just another one, just putting his hand up there. But probably didn't expect that man and ball pass. But he's been involved in some big moments in the game here.
You're right.
Tom Gordon, 17 tackles from 17 last week, and a try. Man from Rotorua. Very smelly play. Have you been there? Smells. What is it? Those sulfuric acid, rotten egg smell. Isaac Boss is from there, the former Ulster scrum half.
Okay then, lads, when you're ready.
We've probably got an audience in New Zealand, because this is also the world feed. So my apologies to the inhabitants of Rotorua. I'm sure you get used to it after a while. Famed for its sulfuric springs, Rotorua, and a real tourist attraction.
Okay, we were excellent in our first scrum. We'll have the same again, please. Okay.
It's definitely worth a visit. I've been there. It's
time on.
great place.
Ireland played there against the New Zealand Maori. Was that the trip you were on? No,
No, we played Russia.
Good.
Rugby World Cup.
Crouch.
2011, long time ago now.
Bind.
I've blanked out
Set.
that World Cup.
Height, good. Pressure up. Keep it up, lads.
We
Pressure
blanked
up.
out a few World Cups.
Good. Keep it up.
At least Scotland have made a semi-final.
Yeah, exactly. Cheers, Robbo.
No problem. Madigan, here's Luke Marshall, a wee bit of space there to work himself into. So some front foot ball, forwards pile in. And they used that little pocket of space really well. And then brought Coetzee onto the ball. Here's Moore round the corner, this is more like it. Bit of fluidity from Ulster. Now Madigan pulls it back for Lowry, for Matt Faddis.
13 black offside.
Glasgow defence doing really well to scramble across.
13 black offside.
Maintaining that integrity under real pressure from Ulster. The tip on from O'Sullivan.
You're still playing it.
Madigan.
Yeah, massive penalty here.
Well, they're playing slightly more irresistibly.
No advantage,
Ulster
lads.
now as they get into the
No
rhythm
advantage.
a little bit
Glasgow
more than they
13.
were.
Offside.
And offside here against Glasgow. The man who's
Glasgow
penalised
13 offside.
is Robbie
Cheers, Frank.
Ferguson.
Yeah, a couple of times, Robbo, that Ferguson has been right on the line.
Yeah.
Just looking down from the commentary position, right above the lads at the minute, and he's teetering of being offside every time he's coming up in the defensive line. So be interesting here. I think Madigan's going to go for the corner.
Just his fourth start for Ulster. One of only two signings in the close season. The other was Albie Mathewson. So Ulster bringing in two very experienced players in their 30s. Madigan, a winner of 2 Heineken Cups with Leinster, 30 caps for his country. Well, Ulster have already scored a try through this method. First of all,
give him
it's
time
about
for the numbers.
the
Get your numbers, please. You're in late.
from John Andrew, which has been top class this season.
Right, time out. Time out. Right. Can we have enough of this shouting and then please stop it? Everybody's shouting the view here. Get on with the game. We come in, then I'll discuss with the numbers if there's an issue. Get in and form a bit quicker, and that's for both sides.
He clearly hasn't recovered from that roller coaster. Andrew, great work again to Ray. Glasgow trying to bring that maul down. Here's John Andrew on his own, slips through the attempted tackle of Peter Horn. Here's John Cooney underneath those Glasgow posts. And Ulster score the try. It's a waterfall of human flesh that goes crashing over. And Marcel Coetzee, well, he's played in 4 matches this season and he scored 4 tries. What a return from the Ulster talisman.
For me, I just think Glasgow set up in defence there like they didn't want. The only place they wanted Ulster to throw the ball was, it was almost like a double bluff. We want you to throw it to the front. We're marking the tail. We're marking the middle. We're going to go up, and then they didn't go up. And that, you know, when you're defending there, that is the hardest place to defend. If you peel off, you're right into the guts of the defence. There's not as many numbers around either side of the throw of the ball. So I think Glasgow, looking at that, are going to have to try and make a change of strategy potentially. Compete in the air, because it looks like right now, when it comes down to physics and organisation, it looks like Ulster are far more cohesive there.
It's great to meet a forward who understands physics. It's a first for me.
Make it sound more complicated than it is.
You just see here John Cooney with the pass. Coetzee leading with his hip, and that man TJ Ioane, he missed 4 tackles last week against Leinster. He's good at going forward, but he should have locked that ball up. That's too easy for the big man.
On the left, okay.
Marcel Cornelius Coetzee. Springbok international and a real central figure in the way Ulster play the game. Their main ball carrier in the pack, main ball carrier in the back line is Stuart McCluskey, but he's away with Ireland as they prepare for the game against Wales at the weekend. So here's Cooney. Ulster's Player of the Year last season, and Matawalo underneath it doesn't claim. Glasgow 3 defeats in the first 4, losing to Connacht, the Ospreys and Leinster. The 1 win came against the Scarlets, one of John Barclay's former clubs. Of course, John Barclay won
seriously asking me that's a
the
knock
Pro
on?
12 with the Scarlets. Some decent back row forwards on that side, like
forward.
Tag Byrne and Cubby Davis.
In you come, lads, please.
Production line down there, it seems. Great days.
Good. Stay, stay.
Good take by Ryan Wilson. A great friend of the Saracens club, especially Maro Itoje.
Anything happened there, Chris?
Here's Matawalo. Beautiful stuff from Matawalo. And now Bryce. And he gets away from Stuart Moore, who's missed quite a lot of tackles this season. It's in double figures.
Lost now.
Has looked really good with ball in hand, Stuart Moore. Now Peter Horn once more. Oh, it's Ioane. Now got Michael Lowry. Stop Ioane. TJ Ioane. Lowry and Coetzee hunt and track him down. And just about do enough in time. My goodness. Ioane almost on the end of a second try of the night.
Whoa, what a line break straight up the middle of the pitch. When the ball come out, you had Carter, you had Marty Moore. But the initial line break comes from Matawalo. Look at that for a step on. Look, Marshall, welcome back.
Down, white ball.
But yeah, brilliant play, wasn't it, by Glasgow in the midfield there, John?
Yeah, I just like they're trying to get their ball to their danger guys. You know, I remember defending as Nico Matawalo, and he's one guy who gets the ball. He's the one guy you don't want to have the ball. So clearly they want to get the ball in his hands. But I just think Pete Horn again really controlling the game nicely, making the right call. A great pass there to TJ Ioane. For me, I think we're seeing some great rugby. It was absolutely pouring down before the game. We weren't quite sure what we were going to see, but it seems like both teams have got the right appetite to throw the ball around.
Good height.
You said danger guys. Why are they so often from the South Sea Islands?
Crouch.
That's a good question. They certainly don't come from Scotland.
Bind. Set. Hold it there. Keep it up. Good pressure. Good height. Hold. Stay down, guys. Backwards.
It was under pressure from Kennedy. Cooney, can Ulster reset here and get out of this little pickle they've got themselves into? Lack of control at the base, and Madigan decides to take the responsibility. Here goes Bryce again, showing us what a good boot he has at fullback. Ulster getting over that ball through Coetzee. Here's Ioane. Sean Kennedy, Matawalo involved once more. 2 tries for Fiji against Uruguay at the World Cup. Now McDonald. Kennedy. Sayuli makes progress. Kennedy for Peter Horn. I think TJ Ioane's doing his laces up. Get up, big man, they need you. Then he drives. Kennedy for Stewart. Glasgow played some really good rugby in this first half. They've stressed this Jared Payne coached Ulster defence. John Andrew comes in. He makes a hit.
Hughes, please.
Kennedy to Sayuli. And Sean Reedy tries to get over the ball.
Down, play on. Stay, lad, stay.
Off his feet, though, ends up on his shoulder. Ioane once again. Sam Carter comes in with the hit. Another penalty's coming. Another penalty. And Ulster giving penalties away in their own half. Sean Kennedy. John Andrew. Great try-saving tackle by Kennedy. And they had to let Kennedy run. They had to let him get the 10. And John Andrew timed the tackle to the inch. Brilliant stuff from the hooker.
I think it's Michael Lowry who actually gets on the poach with the tackle being made. But what quick thinking from Glasgow. They've been brilliant, haven't they, in the opening half an hour of this match. And I thought he was going to slide over John for the try, but Michael Lowry gets in the poach position. And Nigel Owens has been very consistent. Penalty to Ulster, but great piece of play once again, John.
Just good appetite again. We're seeing it. It's quite easy for a winger to stay on the wing. You know, let the ball come to them. But I think you learn a lot about the kind of player and their hunger for a game. If you're seeing a winger pop up behind rucks, off 9, off 10, he just wants the ball. Give me the ball, I'll run with it, come with me. And that's like, you know, away from home it's always tricky. Away from home with no crowd on a Monday night, you know, it's not the most glamorous of games, but I like it again. You know, Sean Kennedy, another experienced guy, you know, got turned over, but actually I think as a Glasgow player, if you're looking at that going at half-time, their appetite to actually try and make things happen away from home when, you know, no one was really giving them a chance before the game, I think that will really suit them.
No. Glasgow, thank you. You had the ball at the back and you moved forward into them. I clearly asked you, move the ball, you didn't. Accidentally offside, scrum down, you moved into them.
Nigel Owens has said more on this match than Joe Biden
No,
did
the ball was
in
not
his
at the front, the ball was
acceptance
at the back, that's why I asked you to move it back. You went into a guy in front. Accidental offside.
He's a farmer
scrum.
these days, Nigel. He's got a herd of cattle. Of course, he referees cattle most weeks, so he should be used to the...
Huh?
Joe Biden related to the Carney brothers.
A lot of weight in your arm.
Seen a little bit of that on social media over the last week.
Just hold the weight, is that
I think
okay?
they're claiming it, certainly. I did see that tweet, yeah. Rob and Dave Carney. Joe Biden's
Shoulders,
family
please,
from
lads.
Carlingford,
Keep the weight then, please. Second
close to
rows as
the
well.
Irish
Crouch.
border.
Bind.
Why are we talking about America? It was my fault. Yeah,
Set.
sorry.
Hold
My
it there,
fault.
lads. Up. Keep it up. Keep square. Good.
Good scrum, and it's Ryan Wilson.
Now you're pinning the tackler. Play on.
Kennedy again pulls it back, and Ulster spend a lot more time than they might have expected
feet and won
inside
the
their
ball.
22. Here goes Ray, man of the match, or player of the match against
Oh, he's on his
Benetton.
feet. One hand won the ball.
Stuart Moore, he's got a strong boot on him, hasn't he? It's Stockdale-esque in
Back,
its
Glasgow,
strength.
keep
Now
coming,
here's
keep
Bryce
coming.
again. Who's underneath this? John Cooney makes up the ground. Thinks he spots some space in behind Peter Horn. It's not a fizz, isn't there? Fizzing about this match, end to end.
Yeah, well,
A lot of fizz, and
I need a better
Ulster win
picture of
that
you on your
arm
feet to
wrestle
win the
this
ball,
time
okay?
round.
I don't want any elbows.
I think
That's
actually
why
at
I
this
didn't reward
breakdown,
you. Okay, thank you.
it's a boot that maybe dislodges the ball.
But
Could
that one
see
was fine,
initially
yeah.
getting in the poach. Yeah, Sean
No, I
Reedy
was just
maybe
telling him,
helping
better
that ball
picture on his
back.
feet. That one was fine.
But a couple of nice
his hand,
kicks
first man
from
in,
Ulster,
on the ball.
and they find themselves in a pretty good attacking position.
Sean Reedy this time, Ulster's top tackler last season. Here is Madigan. The Glasgow midfield defence just sat off a little bit there, giving Ulster the opportunity. As Reedy goes again, here's Cooney and now Carter.
Ball is out, get play.
Cooney had to react a little bit quickly there, the ball was bubbling out. Now Ray once more, trying to add a real carrying game to his arsenal this season. Is Matty Ray, Kutsia. Here is Madigan. Fadez popping up on the opposite wing. Cooney again. Now Sam Carter once more.
Release.
TJ Ioane comes in with the tackle. Now it's Marty Moore, making yet more progress for Ulster. Cooney to Stuart Moore half through here, trying to use that footwork to beat the final defenders. Now it's Madigan ducking and diving and driving for the line. Did he have players spare outside him? There must still be an opportunity. Ulster decide to go direct here, and Nigel Owens looks very, very closely at the situation. Have Ulster scored a try here?
Lads,
Sam Carter prostrate on the ground, sucking
I
grass.
can't reward you there because you were driven over on the ground by your own men, okay? So
Grass
I'm
or
gonna go back to
gas?
scrum five and play by your ball, okay? I can't reward you there.
Sucking diesel, sucking
You should
grass.
release when you're driven over by your own men.
It's funny, I've watched Stu
Time
Moore
out.
for every game that he's been playing for Ulster, and he loves the old under-15s show and go, dummy and go, and it's amazing the amount of times it actually pays off for him. But he was the one.
Time out.
That looks like a try, doesn't it?
If you can tell me where the ball is, I'll say that's a try.
That was Ferris of Ulster versus Barkley of Glasgow.
Okay, Frank?
I do think Glasgow, for me, have been really, they've had a lot of impact, a lot of punch, a lot of power
Yeah,
with the ball,
couldn't
but
place
without the
and
ball,
he
they're
was driven
lacking a
over,
bit. they're just lacking a bit of impact in the collision, I think, and it's just a bit too easy for Ulster to go through the phases. And it has an air of inevitability about when they get close to the line. Just that power game will kind of take over. Whether it's lack of organisation or just lack of impact and tackle, I'm not sure.
Tell me, if that isn't a try, where is the ball?
Well, John just whispered over to me that it's a knock on, but
Okay, lads.
Well, hasn't been given.
I think that Sam Carter doesn't really do himself justice there. If he had a kind of give a small bit of a celebration or get up as if he had scored the try. He just lay on the ground as if he had knocked it on or something had happened. So Nigel Owens just back to the scrum.
Dead straight, please.
Hard to celebrate with the mouth of the grass.
Well, he was grazing at the time, and that was the problem.
He's chewing the cud on the 5-metre line.
Crouch.
That should have impressed Farmer Owens.
Bind. Set. Hold it there, lads. Keep it up. Good height. Up.
That's a good scrum by Ulster. John Cooney stands and admires it. The great work of the forwards. Off goes Coetzee and Tom Gordon. He's a really good tackler. Here is Cooney. Ulster got to make the right decisions here. And if they do, they should get over again.
He was shot the first time.
Well, eventually it came. Sam Carter didn't quite get there a few seconds ago. But this time he does with that power and determination.
Thank you. Check that for me, Joy, please. I'll slow it down if you need more time.
Okay, bear with me.
I think Nigel might just have a wee check of this through Joy Neville, the TMO. Ryan Wilson really worked hard there to stop Carter getting over the line, didn't he?
Yeah, he was shot to begin with, but then he was over just the second time.
Ooh, is that on the line?
Hold on.
Is that on the line? He's held up initially there, but ooh, is it just short, or does it touch the whitewash?
Well, the man in yellow standing beside John Cooney had the perfect view right behind the
Nothing
sticks.
clear and obvious, Nigel. Try is good.
Nothing clear and obvious, as Joy Neville says, so try stands.
On the line, yes.
Yeah, tell you what, as I said, I checked. He shot the first time, but the second time the ball touches the line and it's in one movement, so the try is good. That's the end of the decision, the try is given. Thank you. Time on.
Easy, sweet conversion for John Cooney, and Ulster now begin to stretch away their third try of this first half, and Dan McFarlane will feel maybe a little bit more relaxed now.
I say it just gets too easy. Just too easy. Great. That's what you get from Marcel Garcia. Not only has he got the best name in the Pro 14, he also carries the ball pretty well. He carries and carries and carries, and just that benefit of that extra metre or 2 metres doesn't look like a lot there, but that gave the guys coming out the scrum that impetus to come onto the ball in the next phase, and that's ultimately what made the try.
Kieran McDonald did well there to get down on the ball. Here's TJ Ioane. Now Peter Horn off the side of the foot, and Gilroy calls for the mark as he gets clattered by the cult figure of Scotstoun, Nico Matawalu.
Even after that.
Just nothing on there for Glasgow in attack. Running down the seconds towards half-time here, but crossfield kick by Horn, caught by Gilroy. And a pretty good relieving kick there also.
Ulster 4 wins this season. Benetton, Ospreys, Dragons, Cardiff, 2 of those away wins in Wales. Ulster struggled to win away last season, but they've put that to rights this time around.
Then, lads. Time out now, yeah.
2 try bonus points as well, both here against the Italians and the Dragons. Ulster against Zebra next, then the Scarlets.
That's all right.
Ulster 18 tries scored this season now, including tonight. Second best try total after 4 rounds. Leinster, no surprise, top dogs on 22 after their victory against the Ospreys in the Liberty Stadium yesterday. Leinster played 5 try bonus points.
No, they're all on side.
I've covered a couple of their games, Robbo, so far this season, and they have been exceptional. We talked pre-match about a couple of players not getting a chance with the Autumn Nations Cup in the Irish squad. Somebody like Scott Penny, who's been scoring tries for fun. Rhys Ruddock, 2 man of the match performances in the last couple of weeks. You've Tommy O'Brien, Jimmy O'Brien, Harry Byrne. The list is endless down in Leinster. They really are playing a great brand.
Rhys Ruddock has been an absolute beast. I read a feature about him during the week. He said he's trimmed down a bit. He
doesn't look. He looks in beast mode, doesn't he?
Well, that's him trimmed down, but he looks incredibly dynamic, doesn't he? Here is Treadwell.
Stay 10. Stay 10. Go 10. Okay.
Maybe more lean muscle mass is more accurate than trimmed down.
Reload 3. You've lost the ball.
Reload. In those back streets of Belfast, that's for sure.
Off goes John Cooney. Brilliant run by Cooney. He's really back to form, isn't he, Cooney, after a difficult post-lockdown phase. And here he is again. Now Madigan. Can Ulster get a 4th try before half-time? Faday's, they've got players on the outside. Matawalu comes in. The referee again might decide to take a very close look at this. Did Matawalu attempt to make a catch on the ball? If that's deemed to be deliberate, it could be a penalty try.
Okay, Joy, we need to double check this and be 100% sure.
Yeah, I'm just going to check to see whether there's cover at the back. It's definitely deliberate knock on. Just check the wider angle.
Oh, that's deliberate. That is a deliberate knock on. The question is there a clear path to the line? Okay. Outside him.
No, listen now, please.
Craig Gilroy would have been on the end of it.
Clear. You go to one hand and you get it wrong, and it doesn't matter.
Here's your best angle here, Nigel.
You pay the consequences. And in the
position
you are,
I think it's Glenn Bryce coming across there, isn't it?
Okay. Thank you.
The opposite wing as well.
Good work, Chris. Thank you.
Definitely don't think it's going to be a penalty try, but for sure that is a deliberate knock on.
He try, but just wanted to make sure it was a yellow, not just a
gesture as much as he wants to. Nigel owns the referee, but that is definitely a penalty.
Okay. Last play, but you have time with the line.
Yellow card. There's a lot of sticky tape on his fingers, unless the stickiness of the tape had managed to grip the ball somehow. That was going to be nothing else other than a yellow card.
Ulster have been ruthless tonight so far, haven't they? Really have. The clock was in the red and Cooney straight down the short side, and they've set themselves up here lovely.
Keep it up, lads!
Scored a try from a very similar position earlier in the game, and this is how it started. Is it going to finish the same way? John Andrew in possession, and Glasgow might get over the ball here, a little bit isolated, just short of the line. Ulster there.
Stay back, Sam. Stay back. Ball available there.
Mess in there. Carter again, latch on from Ray, didn't quite get the angles right there, Ulster.
Stay back.
That's one thing Leinster are brilliant at, the early latch and the drive. Here is Luke Marshall now. Madigan throws one of those effervescent, extravagant dummies of his. Now Sean Reedy hasn't got a huge amount of support around him.
Ruck is called! Ruck!
So Ulster might go the opposite direction again where the white shirts are. That's exactly what they do. Luke Marshall goes in to help to clear out. But it's another penalty. It's another penalty.
Too late releasing.
Too late releasing, says Nigel Owens. And, well, it's an easy 3 points to take into half-time, but Ulster might consider the try bonus point option at this point. Let's see. Or do you decide 24-10 is handy enough at the break?
Yeah, 24-10, but they're not. They're going for the scrum, backing themselves once more. But Robbo, I'm not sure about you, but watching this game, Glasgow have actually played reasonably well. And you know, they've challenged Ulster at times. But Ulster have just been, as I mentioned there, very ruthless.
Very careful of penalties,
taking every opportunity that's come their way. And their star players, that man on the ball, John Cooney, has been exceptional once again.
Scrum call.
And have another chance here to put a few more points on the scoreboard, and as you rightly say, go for that bonus point try at 40 minutes.
That's interesting. John Cooney, just a little subtle point to Craig Gilroy, who's standing way wide on the right wing. I wonder.
Keep us on this, please.
I wonder. We'll see. We shall see.
Bind.
Michael Lowry standing directly behind
Set.
Ian Madigan.
Hold it there.
He's almost
Pressure up.
invisible to the Glasgow
Good,
defence.
keep it up.
So here is Cooney, now Madigan. He might have used the man outside him again. Oh, Cooney, it has worked out for Ulster. Really well played. Support from John Cooney. Madigan had a go himself, but it's his half-back partner who cannot stop scoring those tries for Ulster since he signed for the province, who gets the fourth score on the whistle of half-time.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Robbo, but that's 9 tries in his last 18 games. Exceptional work by John Cooney. I thought the chance had been blown. Ian Madigan could have thrown a lovely ball over to Craig Gilroy to get in the corner, but that towering defence of Glasgow just couldn't make it up, and the gap was there, and you don't need to give John Cooney a second chance, and he took it.
It's great from an Ulster perspective to see John Cooney coming back to form well and truly. In a pretty miserable time. He admitted it after the lockdown. He said emotionally, I probably invested too much in each individual game. He'd lost his chirpiness, centered himself. He had a bit of an Achilles niggle as well, but my goodness, he's back to full turbo power now. And he adds those extra 2 and takes Ulster into a very, very handy half-time lead indeed. And despite the excellence and some of the attacking prowess of Glasgow, it's Ulster who've managed to get those 4 tries in that first half, and they lead after 40 minutes by 28 points to 10.
Back in the rugby, Ulster lead 28-10 against Glasgow. Bonus point already in the bag. We've got commentary from John Barclay, Stephen Ferris and Mark Robson.
One of Ulster's 4 try scorers was that man, John Cooney, despite some really exciting rugby from Glasgow in the first half, which put Ulster under a lot of pressure. Very good try from TJ Ioane. Ulster somehow still managed to score those 4 tries and pull away into a strong and solid lead. And once Ulster got close to the Glasgow line, they found a way to pulverise their way over it. As John Barclay pointed out, sometimes it was too easy. John Barclay, who once hid in a wheelie bin for 15 minutes just so he could spring out and terrify Stuart Hogg. What a terrible man you are.
And I was prepared to wait longer.
Yeah, good job.
John Barclay also, you might remember, was one of the famous trio, the Killer Bees. That Scottish back row, John Beattie and Kelly Brown. What a triumvirate they were.
You can see, I can see Kelly about 100 yards across the way from me now, so nice to be reunited for just a few minutes.
I had 2 right hands, I had border boots. Oh. Okay, you good to go?
So it's Peter Horn to get us underway in the second half. And Tagive looks to climb for the ball. It's going to go all the way, so not the best of restarts for the Glaswegians, who really need to make a good beginning to this second 40, or it really could run away from the Scottish side. Andrew, line out has been very well oiled this evening.
Number 3, reload now, good man. And you.
Try has come that way.
Lost
John
your bike,
Andrews
reload,
scored
good
it.
work.
Here he is, John Cooney, behind the advancing pack, just where scrum halves love to be. Tagive comes in with Gilroy. Play on, says the referee, Stuart Moore. John Cooney, the ball just a little bit behind him, and Marshall, he throws it forward. So it looked promising for a couple of seconds, and then it just
they won the ball
apart.
back. Gone forward
it did fall apart, didn't it? A lovely box kick from John Cooney. He has all the skills tonight. We'll just see, not taken. I think it's a slight knock on there actually by Craig Gilroy, and John Cooney absolutely smashed for his troubles there. The old hospital pass, there we go. How do you like that one, John?
Come down, lads. Forward pass, your ball.
You got 2 kidneys, it's fine, isn't it?
Let's go,
Something I was keen to ask you, John. Whenever you went from Glasgow to Edinburgh, was that the same as Mo Johnson going from Celtic to Rangers?
Thankfully, I went. I sort of had a little stay down in Wales for 5 years. I think if I'd gone straight down the M8, it may have had that same feel, but it was like I was a forgotten man in Glasgow when I came back anyway. So
keep it up, good pressure up, good work.
Lovely scrummage from Edinburgh. Sean Kennedy. Oh, Peter Horn gets charged down by Stuart Moore. Good work by him. Now John Cooney. Gilroy on the outside. Remember, 55 tries in Celtic rugby to his name. Scrambling back, there goes Stafford McDowell. And Ulster at the breakdown again.
And on his feet.
Go in and punch.
Clear release by Sam.
And John Andrew, remember, it was Sean Reedy, I think, who got the turnover there. John Andrew made the try-saving tackle towards the end of the first half. And Sean Reedy, I think it was, who turned the ball over on that occasion.
Yeah, it's a really poor kick, isn't it? But again, John Cooney picking up the scraps, and the hack made through. They're going for the corner again, but we can just see Sean Reedy holding on there, making his 100th PRO14 appearance tonight.
No Jordy Murphy this evening.
Stay 10 now.
Ulster doing quite a bit of rotating. Sam Carter.
Over.
Scored that try in the first half, as did John Andrew. Here goes John Andrew again. Gets some shielding work done there by Marcel Coetzee.
Lost now, lost!
John Cooney. Oh, they're going to stretch it. Here is Madigan. Oh, he's drilled that one towards Fares. Brilliantly taken by Bryce. And he just bounces away from Laurie. Craig Gilroy, where did he come from?
Okay.
Frenetic little spell of play, and it could have been a try at any one of the two ends.
Option. Line out or scrum you are, boys. Line
Ian Madigan taking on responsibility himself once more. Just needed a bit more in that. Fares was nowhere near. Michael Lowry puts in a bit of a bump as a tackle. We'll just see Craig Gilroy coming right across, bundling him sort of towards the touchline. I'm not sure if that was the right option. I'm not sure the crossfield kick was the right option there. Definitely just hold it. They've had so much success, John, from just holding on to possession and one-out runners.
Yeah, I think just an over-eagerness to get the ball to where Nico Matualo would have been, but I think you could have just about passed it there, you know, taking the time. And I think it looked like they could almost walk that in. So yeah, just a wee bit impatient there by Ian Madigan potentially.
Set. Hold it there, lads. Hold it there, steady.
Yeah, I wonder what the coaches think in general of Madigan's option taking throughout this game so far. I'm sure it'll be discussed. Every player is reviewed at the end of every game, and now it's Wilson who's under pressure at the base, as Ulster were in that first half. They failed to clear immediately from a difficult enough situation.
I call it 9 away, please.
Sean Kennedy. He actually grew up in Limerick, did Sean Kennedy. He was a Munster supporter, taken by Fares, and he was always going to be driven close to that touchline by that Glasgow defence.
Again, you know, a great piece of play. Not the most glamorous side of the game, probably the boring side of the game actually, but as a Glasgow player, they'll be loving that. Just go from exiting, potentially expecting also to get the ball. Instead, a great kick by Sean Kennedy, puts it right on the money. And P. Horn is, you know, chasing out of position arguably there, but again, a senior player, leader, just getting involved, driving up the side lane. Now Glasgow have the opportunity to get back down into Ulster's half.
Well, only the Scarlets have conceded fewer tries than Ulster after 4 rounds. That was 5. Glasgow just 5 match points after 4 rounds. 10 tries for, 10 tries against. Marty Moore gets it away now. Madigan, Stuart Moore. Again, it's Craig Gilroy who's on the chase. And here's Tagive. Tagive, pace, space, good footwork, gliding away from Ulster defenders. White shirts grasping. Peter Horn, that's Stewart in midfield, the hooker. Grant Stewart, Mesu Dolakoto, another hooker in the Glasgow squad, is away with the Fiji team for the Autumn Cup, as is Leone Nakarawa. Apparently they're joining the Fijian squad this week, although they are down as injured on the Glasgow website. Who knows? Ball bouncing and bobbling around, nobody taking real control initially. Then Harley got his hands on the ball. Here's Kennedy. Here's Michael Lowry, good positioning by the fullback. As he spotted space, Peter Horn's turn to come across and cover. Outside the 22 goes Peter Horn. Is that going to go out on the full? Oh yes, it is.
Yeah, you could see he was in two minds there. I think he actually caught the ball just as he got into the 22, and I thought he might have stopped, taking his time and send it down towards the halfway line and let Ulster try and come at them from there, but he kicks it out on the full, unfortunately.
Subs, lads, both sides. Subs, please, both sides. Time out.
Over 150 games he's played for Glasgow. Peter Horn played a fair bit in midfield at 12, and of course he's played 10 on 12 for Scotland. Alan O'Connor is on for Ulster in a sparkling white shirt. Look at that, crystal clean, as is Bill Johnson on this rather murky night in Belfast. Coetzee with the line out take, so another option out of touch there from Ulster.
That's once.
Here is Cooney and Stuart Moore, and pulls it back for Bill Johnson, the man from Clonmel, the former Munster player.
No, get out, get out.
Cooney for Coetzee. Ulster very bunched at the moment, very narrow. Let's see what they can develop from here, getting those players on and support. Cooney again, Coetzee claps his hands, give it to me. It's never a bad idea to give it to Coetzee. Cooney again, Bill Johnson.
Yeah. He's gone, he's gone, he's gone. We play that, he's gone. Okay,
Coetzee bouncing off both feet.
No advantage.
There they go, Sullivan.
Quick as he could, didn't affect anything.
Here is Ray to Stuart Moore, now Craig Gilroy. He really wants that 56th try, doesn't he?
What's going there, lads?
Yeah, another good piece of play by Tom Gordon there. Probably, maybe want to even get a replay here, but just, you know, back row against winger there. Craig Gilroy there got him on his heels, but just did enough to get back. Then not quite happy with that. Just a double effort. We always talked about double efforts. Gets back here, ties up the ball, gets back over the ball. Doesn't quite get a turn, but makes enough of a mess of it to make it uncertain for Ulster. And again, just a lot to admire here in the way Glasgow are not quite giving up here.
It's almost like they're defending better with 14 men on the pitch than they were with 15 men, isn't it? Yeah. It's just like is it more of a mentality, or do you think it's more system error there in the first half that they conceded the 4 tries?
I think it was probably both. I think their mentality with the ball was great, and they had a lot of impact in collisions, but actually their impact without the ball wasn't great, and then that was leading to, you know, soft edges and bad folds and a bit of space. So it looks like they've become a bit more frantic and a bit more urgent in defence. Maybe they've had a rocket at half-time. Maybe it's off the back of being a man down and realising, you know, the next score is, you know, going to ultimately probably decide this game.
Danny Wilson, who coached the Cardiff Blues side to victory in the European Challenge Cup in Bilbao. Great game that was. They beat Gloucester 31-30. Ulster beat Scottish opposition post-lockdown. You'll remember, I'm sure, that was Edinburgh in the Pro14 semis. But lost to Connacht, Leinster twice, including the Pro14 final, and Toulouse in the Champions Cup quarters in the Pink City. But the last 2 meetings between these teams, Ulster have conceded 80 points to Glasgow and a total of 11 tries, both of those games in Scotland. And one of those, that semi-final when Ulster were hammered 50 points to 20.
That's all right, don't worry. Well, they come loose,
Glasgow were also in Ulster's pool last season, finished 3rd, but due to the COVID restructure, didn't make the playoffs. But Glasgow have made the knockout in the previous 2 seasons before that, and since Glasgow won the title here in Belfast 5 years ago, they've lost in another final and played in 2 semi-finals. So they've got a very fine record overall in this competition. By the way, the Irish provinces have won 15 of their 16 matches so far in this Guinness Pro 14. The only side to lose in all those games. Connacht
Okay,
against
time on. Let's
Cardiff.
restart then.
Quite a
Let's start
start for the Irish.
Brilliant start for the Irish, isn't it? An interesting stat there during the week, Robbo. And we have been saying so much about how much the fans have an impact on games, and away fixtures last year, only 24% of away wins that there was, and so far this season 48% already this season. Unbelievable, and it just shows you how much that 16th man really does count.
Lowry, stabbing, jabbing kick, and Peter Horn, a long pass for Brandon Thompson. Matawalu back on after his yellow card. A deliberate knock on. There did appear to be cover in behind Craig Gilroy. If it had been closer to the line, it could easily have been a penalty try, but it was maybe 15 metres out. Lowry, beautiful handy work by Michael Lowry, and here is Sean Reedy, and all he has to do is rump his way to the line for Ulster.
Oh, it's a brilliant try, isn't it? Really well executed by Ulster. Given the pass, following the pass. There was 2 or 3 men there, John, who could have scored that try. And again, Niku Matawalu comes onto the pitch and they go down his wing and score a try. It's a strange old game.
Yeah, you talk about the detail, though. I think it was Eric O'Sullivan ran that short line there, which made Ryan Wilson bite, and they were already numbers down, so he's in almost Sophie's choice there. Who does he pick? He has to choose one. He chose the wrong one, but there you see that great bit of play by Lowry. Unselfish play to wind it in, but yeah, just a mismatch in defence there, just not numbering up, and that's kind of been the story of Glasgow tonight. Not that real urgency in defence, no real ability to match power or numbers.
Another wee point, Stephen. You've watched Ulster all of their games. John Andrew, season or 2 back, just wasn't getting a look in, just wasn't getting a sniff of a start or even a place on the bench for Ulster. Do you think he's taken his chance?
I think he certainly is. His line-out throw on the stats would say that he's been better than Adam McBurney. And as you well know, Robbo, wet and windy nights at the Kingspan Stadium in January, February, March time, you want that type of fella in your team. But yeah, I was involved at Ulster Rugby in 2014 and he was around. So just see John missing this kick, but he certainly has a lot of potential. Really fit guy, very good footwork. He's missed a few tackles when he's come onto the pitch, but he showed his pace in that cover tackle, didn't he, early on in the first half, and again his pace down the wing to get the ball back into Sean Reedy.
Nice.
Who, as you can see, he liked that one.
Well, it's nice to score a try in your 100th Celtic appearance, isn't it? A bit like Ben Young scoring 2 against Italy on his 100th cap for England.
Leave it now, leave it, 2 and 4.
Talking of nines,
okay,
Cooney kicks, Antoine Dupont winning the Player of the Guinness Six Nations. Oh, and Stain, or Bryce rather. Why was I thinking of Kyle Stain there? He's on the injury list. Bryce gets clattered, and Brandon Thompson. Here's Ethan McElroy, came off the bench last week against the Cardiff Blues, and he's away here. Got quite a bit of game time in Newport. He's getting quite a bit more here now, and it's Michael Lowry caught by the coattails. Did well, brilliantly in fact, to get the offload away.
Still in the hands, still in the hands.
Hassled and harried by Matawalu, and also by Lewis Bean and Sean Kennedy, and there's a lot of space in behind there because all the Ulster players were up in attack.
What an introduction by Ethan McElroy, straight onto the pitch. Lovely run right up the middle, off left foot, off his right foot. Oh, look at that for an impact tackle. I'm not sure his feet touched the ground there, John, eh?
Close enough, apparently. Look, I think what feet there. I mean, Glasgow have really got to get hold of this game now. This is kind of getting a bit too loose, a bit too frantic. If Glasgow don't get hold of this and get hold of the defence, it could be, it's already looking like a long night. It could get even longer.
Ryan Wilson still working hard, trying to charge down that kick by Cooney, and McElroy took a really good high ball against Cardiff Blues last week, took one there, but he's in touch. Glasgow making changes. A man they brought on, number 19, not to be messed with, Lewis Bean, on a short-term loan from the Saints. He served 2 tours in Afghanistan, in Helmand Province and Kabul. Do not mess around with Mr. Bean.
Careful when you're running back. Yeah, no, I didn't think you interfered in play whatsoever. That's why I played on. But if you had, it'd have been a penalty, okay? Yeah, no, you didn't do nothing, and that's why I played on.
Yeah,
but just be careful.
Tranche replacements
Time
coming
on.
on. That's Alex Allen. International,
on.
one of the 9 and the 23. Here's Kennedy.
Back. Hughes!
Yes!
Hughes!
Alex Allen. It's number 20 is Foti Lokatui,
Hughes,
the
lads,
Tongan
please.
international.
I called it.
Quite a
9
few
minutes to go. I called it,
Southeast
needs to
lads
go.
in this 23, of course, with TJ Ioane and Marawalu.
Nobody's touched
Up
it.
goes
Play on.
McElroy, not this time for the youngster. Here's John Cooney. Twists and pirouettes. And Kennedy keeps the ball in play. Off goes Bryce. Glenn Bryce. Now Brandon Thompson, the South African, former Western Province player. Here is that man, Big Lewis Bean. And under real pressure there defensively, we're Glasgow, and it's Matt Fadez. Good footwork and control for Fadez, and another try comes Ulster's way, and they are beginning to rampage over this Glasgow side.
Yeah, the try's been given, but John and I sitting up here directly down, we're going to see it. Number 8, just look at number 8, Marcel Coetzee there with a headband on the next phase here. You can see Fadez crying out for numbers. Oh, it'll be half a yard, but he gets away with it. And Fadez, the poacher that he is, lovely couple of kicks through. Hopefully we'll see a few more of those kicks on Thursday night when Northern Ireland play in their playoff game.
I think what we've seen there is a prime difference in defensive intent there. Probably just, you see Marcel Coetzee there on the line there, just probably numbers down. We saw Fads waving, wanted another number there, but Coetzee has decided, you know, a lot of things can solve that, and the main one's line speed and a bit of intent. It gets off the line, maybe a penalty, maybe not, but just that intent to go forward, to force error, to make impact in defence, and that's what you get. That's the byproduct of it. A collision, a loose ball, wet ball. Just it's all very contagious in defence. I always felt when I played, habits are contagious, intent's contagious, and right now it looks like Ulster have just got that bit more appetite without the ball.
That is 7 tries last season, 6 tries now in his last 10 for Ulster for the 29-year-old. So that's a decent return. Robert Balakoon is amongst the injured great prospect in this Ulster squad. I think he tore his hamstring off the bone, didn't he, Robert Balakoon? No Rob Little tonight either.
It's been a good night so far for Ulster. I know I mentioned the football there on Thursday night. Big win for Mark Allen, the snooker player, last night in the Champions of Champions. And of course the Masters kicks off,
good standards, shoulders out,
tees off, should I say, with a
Let's
certain Rory McIlroy. Your best mate, Robbie, you've told me.
Crouch.
Well, not my best mate. My brother used to be his tennis coach when he was a kid.
Set.
He had a very good forehand and drop shot, but a rubbish backhand.
Bind up, lads. Stay close, please. Stay close. I'll go back.
Off goes Stuart Moore. Almost gets through that Glasgow first line of defence. John Cooney and Kyle McCauley's
play
caught
on,
high.
Play on.
Was he? No, across the shoulder. Looked a bit seat beltish, didn't it? Here's Cooney into that space. Tagivi can't get across.
This is a real challenge for Glasgow. Now, this game is, to all extents and purposes, done and dusted. But I think for me, the next 20 minutes, you know, probably isn't about the game now. It's about the next few weeks. Their squad's not going to change. So how do they get some momentum? How do they get some confidence? How do they get a bit more impact in the tackle? How do they fix the problems so that when they look at the tape on whatever day it might be, I know we're playing Monday, on a Tuesday, Wednesday, there's some things they look at and think there's a lot of good stuff to work on there.
If it's a Monday review, it's going to be a long night.
Straight on the plane on the laptops. That's what I used to do.
Really, look at the work rate there to ruck hard up across the ball and try and drive Glasgow back, but they've got it through Lewis Bean. Here's Gordon, and now Peter Horn. Johnson comes in with a tackle.
Stay out.
And Ulster are, oh, it's Coetzee. I think it's Coetzee who's down injured. Doesn't look good. He's already had two very serious injuries, ACLs. Brandon Thompson tries to squeeze through a hole in that Ulster defence. Now it's Tom Gordon. Powerful player, Tom Gordon. He's box-shaped, isn't he? Up come Ulster. Stuart Moore, and then comes Michael Lowry. Is that the deliberate knock-on? I think it might have been.
Yeah. 15. How to be consistent here, okay? Deliberate there. We're attacking just outside the 22. No attempt to catch.
Yeah, Michael Lowry,
similar position,
really disappointed with himself there, shaking his head, furious that he's deliberately knocked that on. As you can see, he just knew straight away that it was the incorrect decision.
That's almost impossible not to do. You'd have to think, what? You have to try and catch that with a chance at catching that. I think that's, again, we've seen another example why Nigel's one of the best, and you almost saw no complaint whatsoever. He thought, well, yeah, Nico Matualo and I have to go. Just complete consistency, clearly explained. Wasn't there's no real intent, just I've got to go. That's the game.
Let him land.
And as Nigel Owen said, he had to be consistent, and he forced the departure of Nico Matualo for the same offence. Ryan Wilson takes it well for Glasgow. Is there a response from the Scottish side? Tagibe comes in to help the drive. Grant Stewart in possession. They're through. Stewart's going to score here for Glasgow. A really well-worked, cohesive try from the set piece.
Yeah, I think we were talking about positives a few minutes ago. I think their set piece has been excellent. Scrum's been solid. Line-outs really function well. I think Ryan Wilson's took a lot on himself there as their main jumper, as their leader, happy to take on that responsibility. But Grant Stewart's throwing some really great darts, and they've looked cohesive here. So they have the power, they have that ability to match power. This is a power game when you're talking mauling. So, a bit of technique for me was mainly power and a bit of grunt. So whilst Glasgow are showing a lack of grunt potentially, defensive aspects of the game, I think certain elements of it, that side things have been great. So there are positives then to look at from this game, and I guess if we're looking at 20 minutes to go, that the target has to be, let's try and get 4 tries now.
Disappointing season last season, Glasgow. They failed to qualify for the playoffs of this competition for just the second time in 9 seasons. Didn't make it out of their Champions Cup pool. Glasgow once Celtic champions, twice runners-up, losing both of those finals, incidentally, to Leinster, who look on target, on form at the moment of maybe defending their title, but a long way to go.
Yeah, it certainly is. Good try there, as we see again, but feels like, well, it is a long time ago. Glasgow haven't won here since 2013-14 season.
Carry on, he says.
Long time ago. But in saying that, Glasgow haven't played particularly bad, but Ulster have been really good tonight. Really good.
What's happening, lads?
And
what's happening?
As John said, plenty of time left in this game for a few more scores for both sides.
Yeah, I don't think there's been glaring errors. You watch the game live, there's no glaring errors defensively. It's just, there's no impact. It's just been a bit too easy when Ulster have had the ball to pinch extra yards, to get over the gain line, and to make life just too hard for Glasgow without the ball.
Okay, nothing coming there, lads.
Penalty
offside,
to
Sam,
Glasgow,
retreat, stayed where he was.
So gives us another opportunity to bring in the 4th most famous professional rugby player with the initials DC, behind Dan Carter, Danny Cipriani and Danny Kerr, Darren Cave.
In your opinion, that is, Robbo. Listen, I agree with Stephen Ferris. I've been really impressed with Ulster tonight. We've said conditions aren't easy. And the thing that's different about this performance tonight, it's this bench coming on. I think they've used 7 or all 8 replacements. And these guys are all now really fighting for places. So expect to see this continue over the next 20 minutes or 17 as we have left.
Can I ask you, Darren, pretty direct question here. What do you think of the decision-making of Ian Madigan at 10 tonight?
I think I think he steered Ulster pretty well for the first 50 minutes of the game. I think it shows the depth that Ulster have, that they went to the bench so early. He has taken on a lot of ball himself, but again, as we said, conditions have been tough to throw those long passes that we know he loves to throw.
Thanks, Darren. Wilson, Kennedy, Thompson. That's Robbie Ferguson. Hasn't seen too much of the ball tonight. Played in the
Glasgow stay, 18, 21, stop. Okay.
At the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne, and did that one carry out in the full it did. Nigel Owens points a long way back. Frank Murphy on the line on the far side. Chris Busby on this side, one of Ulster's young referees who's done very well so far when he's been in charge in the middle of the pitch. Gets a chance to watch Nigel Owens in action. It's a good experience for Busby as well. Carry from Marcus Ray, the brother of Matty Ray, number 20. Cooney for Johnson in behind. Shoulder ball for Matt Fadez. He'll have to work a little bit harder. Darcy Ray tries to bring him down. Ray scored one of the tries against Leinster, Scotland last week. Johnson checks and switches. He's got to come down fast. That ball needed some weights in it to get it down quickly enough.
Just with all the replacements on, Robbo, I think it's almost better if Ulster hold on to the ball, get these lads into the game. Alan O'Connor and co. Just seems like the game has went a little flat since that last Glasgow try.
Yeah, all good, yeah.
Yes, Ulster last met Glasgow here in 2018, and they also won with a try bonus point on that occasion. 36 points to 15. Good work from Ferguson, really strong. And here's Thompson. A lot of height on that. Taken by Craig Gilroy.
Back, lads. Hughes!
Just 15 minutes to go.
Push back.
Ulster using those fresh legs to drive forward. Gareth Milasinovic, wearing 18, the South African of Ulster descent. Thompson, good take in the air from former South African under-20 international Matawalu. Caught by Alan O'Connor.
It's a tackle, boys. Move, please, White. It's a tackle. Move. Good. Thank you. His old man there, lads. We play on.
Thompson, Bourne, moving into midfield for that play, and at this time, Peter Horne does find some turf before the white line.
Yeah, he's looked a bit more comfortable at 12, I thought, with Brandon Thompson coming up in 10. You've got a right foot kicker, left foot kicker. Just that ability, that kind of wipers play to open up both sides of the pitch and to put the ball in behind.
Glasgow number 2, sub, please.
Has that been an argument in Scotland whether Peter Horne's a
better
better 10 or a 12?
I think he's one of these guys that I think in all the teams I played in, there was a Peter Horne, someone who could play it across the board, could play in any position, would never complain about where he played, would do whatever he could to make the team better. And he works incredibly hard. His game has come on immeasurably since when I first met him as a young guy at Glasgow. He works hard, he trains harder than anyone I've come across in my time. So you see him now, he's sprinting back. We're 60 minutes in the game and he'll be first to be back. He'll still want this Glasgow team to keep improving, and he knows he's a big part of it over the next 4 weeks especially.
Good rumble from Glasgow. Here's Brandon Thompson. Ethan McElroy's going to have to work hard back here for Ulster. It's good work again. You talk about covering ground. Well, this time it was John Cooney who was in the right place, showing great fitness.
Showing great fitness. He got absolutely steamrolled in the middle of the park. He gets himself up off the ground, and of course, you look at him working hard. To see him in the bottom of the screen just appear now when Ethan McElroy passes it back, and a good clearance. He's been top drawer tonight once again.
I actually think the way Glasgow are playing here is really great. It's, you know, a lot of good shape, but it's just too late in the game, isn't it? This nice game where they're putting the ball in behind, but Ulster defence has been very strong. They're obviously not getting much change, going direct, going through them. So to actually play in their wide channels are smart. It's just they'll probably learn a lot from it in terms of strategically how you can play better.
Stay white 4, stop.
Johnson's clearance. Milicinovic had done the work to help retain the ball. Then here's Dave Shanahan off the bench for John Cooney. Another good performance from Cooney.
Yeah, it certainly was. Just leading by example, you know, and something that's talked about with the Ireland team at the minute is the spine of their team when they're missing Peter O'Mahony, when Ian Henderson isn't playing.
Up a bit, lads, please.
And, you know, there's a lot of pressure on Johnny Sexton, but when this man is in an Ulster jersey, he is certainly the spine of the Ulster team, and he's shown great leadership and quality tonight in his own individual performance.
Johnny Matthews, fine throw to Ryan Wilson again, and that's a good carry by Lokatui. And he was involved in the last big surge through the middle of the field. So he's brought a real bounce and element of power to the Glasgow carrying game. Now it's Lewis Bean. Marcus Ray gets to grips.
No, he didn't touch it. He just left the ball. He just left the ball.
Gordon, Ulster thought he'd knocked it on, but not so, and it's Lokatui again. Just one appearance at the World Cup for Lokatui for Tonga against Argentina. It was off the bench. Now Johnny Matthews doesn't get too many opportunities for Glasgow. Brandon Thompson, Ryan Wilson, skipper still working incredibly hard now to Give. He does have good footwork. He's shown it right through this game. And now it's Bryce, Lokatui. Gets on the ball a lot, doesn't he, to Give? You can see why Gregor Townsend brought him into that extended Scotland squad. Comes off Fadez, and Gilroy gathers the ball, and also Tom Gordon, who doesn't miss too many tackles. He's that kind of 7. And they've got over the ball. I think it was
yes.
Robbie Ferguson.
I should hope so too.
This time.
On his feet, off your feet. They'd gone.
Yeah, great piece of play by Robbie Ferguson. They're strong over ball. Again, a little error in his game. They're probably just a little bit naive. Glasgow just run out of ideas here. Just trying to poke the ball through, almost nothing else on. But again, you know, Tom Gordon at the heart of a lot of good things for Glasgow, and Robbie Ferguson in there. Just that fight, they'll take a lot of pride from that ability. It's going to be a, you know, Ulster haven't lost here for a long time. Like, this is a hard place to come and play. Never mind when you're missing 18 players, and a lot of young guys. I think have put in good shifts here. Showed a lot of endeavour. Haven't done a lot wrong, but they probably would have learned a lot from the game in terms of just intensity, you know, defence, how important the small details are in defence. These are things can sometimes get overlooked when you first come in and you're a new player. You're thinking about your roles in the team, your attacking roles, your line-out calls, your plays. But actually, the nuts and bolts of the team are made on the gain line.
The umpteenth ball goes to Ryan Wilson. Familiar hair flopping away. Off goes Tom Gordon. Try last week. Not too far away from getting a try this week.
Stay back.
Lokatui trying to snipe his way around that blind side. Good. Johnny Matthews at the player who latches on there. Need the ball back, and there it is. Who's going to pick and go this time? Ray comes in with a tackle. McBurney as well. Darcy Ray goes in, they've cleared it out. Lewis Bean.
Push back, Ulster, push back.
Bean, Polish figure, isn't he? And Lokatui can't get there. Still some resolute defence by Ulster, who just do not want to concede another try. Now Sean Kennedy, flick inside's got to surely. Oh, Matawalu gets absolutely smashed in the tackle to prevent the certain try. You would have thought there was an offside against Ulster. Nigel Owens was playing the advantage.
Just work rate, isn't it, from Stuart Moore? Really good defensive work.
Your hands clearly behind,
they're 40
lads,
points
please.
to 15 up, but they're defending their line with everything. Glasgow throwing the kitchen sink. Might even be a tap and go here, yep.
Someone's obviously sprung out of a wheelie bin, John.
Time out.
I'm not sure. I know exactly why that's
Time out.
I think all this whooping and hollering, I think
Come out,
Glasgow do a
please.
lot of that, and I think there's been a small reaction from Ulster to,
4.
I guess,
Yeah.
mock that back there
Uncaptain.
after a simple knock on, and it's not going down too well.
You know, well, there's a few of you. That's not acceptable in this game. When somebody makes a mistake, we just get on with it. We don't clap and cheer, okay? I'm going to let it go this time. I don't want to see it happening again. Not in this game.
Do you have an opinion on that, Stevie?
I've had
All
a
this
word,
whooping
okay?
and hollering, it definitely is
no, it's
more
not
in the
acceptable.
game.
We don't behave like
Yeah,
that.
it is, but I think it's in the game because there's no crowd.
Nudge
You know,
down.
and the players talking their pre-match and
Time on.
post-match interviews by bringing energy and you know, working hard for each
Glasgow,
other and
number
being
4,
vocal.
Seth,
And, sometimes it can spill over, as we just see here. Yeah, is it a little bit immature, in my own opinion? Yes, of course it is. But if you're on the winning side, usually it doesn't really matter, isn't that right, John?
Something like that. Yeah. Look, I think it's one of those ones that I've been part of it. Most
Every
players will have
scrum
been
has
part of it at some
excellent.
point in
We
their
keep it
career,
going.
but
Standards, please.
I do think there's a part of it where it's
Crouch.
very hard to police. It's very hard to self-police. I think
Bind.
I'm going to sound like a very old person here, and I didn't really
Set.
play
Hold
then.
it
Maybe
there.
you did see me,
Hold it
but I
there.
think back in the days
Steady.
where
Stability,
it used to be
bind high.
self-policed by players, and that probably wouldn't
Unusing,
happen.
please.
Rightly so, there isn't any self-policing, but I just think that part of the game is, yeah, it's not great.
That is. Certainly got a good angle on his clearing kick. Did Fades there, and that's gone fair distance. No, not as far as one thought, actually. It's still inside the Ulster half.
John, every time I played against you, you were never talking to your teammates. You were only talking to the referee.
Glasgow, number 9.
As always, trying to milk another decision.
Only respectfully.
So why did you spend your
Keep the
life
space,
trying to
boys.
terrify Stuart Hogg? What was the reason for that?
I think you'll find rugby players are kind of children that never had to grow up. So I've got a real job
Stay
now,
back.
so I'm not doing that still. But it was, I think you'll see a lot of this in these bubbles that players are living in now in international camps. There'll be a lot of that, a lot of games going on, trying to stay entertained, trying to keep fun, trying to keep camp fun. A lot of wind-up merchants, not always
On the chest,
the people
clear.
that you would think would be the guys winding people up. Often some of the more serious people in camp.
Thanks for that short answer, John.
Away. Lost now.
See, Stevie must be one of the serious people in camp. On the computers doing the analysis. Here, guys, let's have another line-out meeting.
It's Peter Horn, and the scrum half is a man who came in very late to the squad, Caleb Courtenay.
See that again, Frank.
Robbie Ferguson,
Clearly
former
offside.
Scotland Sevens
Okay,
captain.
Thank you.
He's got a fair bit of pace about him.
Advantage, 16 white offside.
Now Matawalo, Ulster caught offside here by Nigel Owens. Owen Shanahan nearly intercepting, but
Going
remember,
nowhere.
there's a
16
penalty
white
coming,
offside.
coming Glasgow's way.
Okay.
I think if you want to use your search engine, I think there is a small compendium of incidents
camp
of
as well?
John Barkley
Yeah, so I'm laughing.
scaring Stuart Hogg, and I have to say it is amusing.
I guess if I was to re-answer that question,
16 you said, Frank, is it?
maybe just would have said because I'm an idiot. I don't know. That's probably the short answer.
16 Ulster.
He just seems to be so
Offside,
easily
1-6.
frightened. That's the thing about Stuart Hogg. It's amazing.
He's also good at almost everything. So one of those people in life that is good at rugby. He's been very successful. He's a good golfer. So it's nice to bring these people down a peg or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just be average at some things. You know, that's all we ask for.
Yeah, Stuart Hogg will probably be in that Scotland side that plays Italy at the weekend in Florence. In fact, he scored a try the last time those two sides met in the Guinness Six Nations. 17-0 in Rome, and Stuart Hogg, one of the players who very much missed by this Glasgow side. You look at their departures, Johnny Gray, Hogg I mentioned, double winners now by the Exeter Chiefs, Finn Russell at Racing, Tim Swinson, DTH van der Merwe, Rory Jackson, Callum Gibbons, Adam Ashe, all off the Glasgow roster these days for various reasons.
Yeah, look, I think this is where teams may struggle. And I think Glasgow have lost essentially the spine of their whole team. Guys that were there from a long time ago who really helped build the culture and the style of play and the standards and values, and they've all gone now. So there's a new group of guys coming in, but the problem we're going to have from COVID is that these guys need replaced. And you know, money doesn't grow on trees. And the Glasgow, I know Danny Wilson bemoaned the lack of signings last year. He was desperate for a fullback. He hasn't got one. We don't know what the full impact is, but I know Glasgow needs to start replacing some of these guys that have left.
Danny Wilson, I think, bemoaning the fact just ever so slightly that Gregor Townsend didn't release a few more Scottish internationals or Scottish players in his large squad for the Autumn Cup for this game tonight. Richie Gray, who's injured, was released. Rob Harley and Tagive, who stood up pretty well tonight. And here is Shanahan. Last couple of minutes of this game, the result was not in doubt a long time ago, and the same can be said of Ulster's last two home games this season against Benetton Treviso and the Dragons as well. Ulster's unbeaten home record now 23 matches. That includes a draw. Ulster have lost just 3 of their last 47 games on home turf in all competitions. Goes back almost 4 years to January 2017.
2 minutes. Thank you.
Johnny Matthews, Ryan Wilson, how many times he taken the ball on the line out tonight? It is a lot. Good tackle, hard tackle coming in from Alan O'Connor. The unsung hero who's now very much sung, the underrated O'Connor who's now very much rated. That kind of player. Here is Matawalu, brought down by Kyle McCall. Jack McGrath was out late from this game with an injury, we assume, certainly a late change. Brandon Thompson goes through Ferguson's forearms, I think, but didn't go forwards. Caleb Kortenegg. The tackle comes in from Kyle McCall. And here's Kortenegg again. Into the final minute of this game in Belfast. The 5 points are neatly tucked away in the back pocket by Ulster. Another game when Glasgow come away with nothing.
Lost now! No, you were on the ball, then you lost.
5 match points. Leinster and Ulster very much at the top of this conference. There's a danger for the other sides of them pulling away early in the season and being very difficult to catch.
Push back, lads.
Kortenegg, Brandon Thompson, and Ryan Wilson knocks the ball on. Yes, he does. And as we wait for the scrummage, a perfect opportunity for us to learn who the Guinness player of the match is.
Yeah, well, I think John and I are both in agreement that the Guinness PRO14 player of the match is number 7, Sean Reedy. He's been exceptional. He's got on the score sheet. He slipped into number 8 when Marcel Coetzee went off. He's taken a couple of line outs. He's just been absolutely everywhere, and he certainly deserves that PRO14 player of the match award tonight.
Number 7, John, you happy with that?
Very. Always. Should always be there. No, yeah, he's been excellent. I always find him a hard guy to play against. He was a back row who was kind of just one of the guys who was always on the ball, in the mould of Michael Hooper. Just carries well, tackles well, goes in the ball, you know, can jump in the line out. It's just someone that, when internationals go away, how valuable is someone like that in your squad? And I think also that's potentially the difference here. One of the differences in the squads is that you have some guys like that who have been around, and a lot of guys that are staying that are just bringing real continuity and real direction to the team.
He's one of those players as well that he knows he's not the biggest, most physical back rower in playing in the PRO14, but he certainly has a great skill set, brilliant footwork, and an appetite,
yes, it is,
and a work rate that cannot be questioned. So it's good, as John says, to have those types of players. And Alan O'Connor coming onto the pitch here tonight, he's another one of those players that Dan McFarland has to keep in a squad.
Glasgow, by the way, their next proposed game has been postponed due to COVID in the Dragons camp, so their next match will be another Monday game, November 23rd against Munster at Scotstoun. Remember, of course, Glasgow have the fabulous 1872 Cup at Christmas, the Scottish Derby. It turned into a real nasty, niggly thing, that game with Edinburgh, or the series of game against Edinburgh.
They're always the fun games. I think there seems to have been a bit of life brought back into those derbies, and they're niggly and they're physical, and they're often sort of brimming, just about to go over the edge. But I think they're big games for these teams, and typically the ones where you get big crowds, but that's not going to be the case this year.
Sean Reedy at number 8, where John Barclay played a bit of his trade at the Scarlets as well as 7. With the act of chipping the ball out of play, Ulster guarantee themselves that try bonus point success. 5 match points yet again at the Kingspan Stadium. They are so difficult to beat here. The last side to do it was Connacht away back in October of 2018. That fella is one of the try scorers in the game. Remember the last time these met, Glasgow hammered Ulster in the semi-final of the PRO14. 50 points to 20. They scored 7 tries, but not tonight. It was Ulster who scored the bulk of the tries themselves, and they've beaten the Glasgow Warriors by 40 points to 15. So 5 wins out of 5. Stephen Ferris, can you give us an early school report?
Well, it's probably an A at the minute, isn't it? They've been very good in the first 5 games that they've played, scoring tries before this match kicked off, scoring an average of 27.5 points per match, and that's going to get most games done. Their record here at home is just so good, and any team that's going to come to Kingspan and to Belfast are going to have their work cut out to get a victory. But so far so good for Dan McFarland. We know it's early on in the season, and this all will come to boiling point come the semi-finals time, but they're doing themselves. So Glasgow, you got to remember, are also in their pool, so it's a good victory tonight on a good 5 points and sending Glasgow back across the water with 0.
Yeah, John, about Glasgow, I mentioned the players that they've lost for good, and you know, as you said at the start of the programme, 18 players out for various reasons. What did Glasgow do? I mean, this Autumn Cup window is a long window. You've got the Six Nations coming up. Gregor Townsend will of course take a lot of players for that tournament as well. So how did Glasgow, with the squad they have, get enough points to make the playoffs this year?
I guess it'll be a tough season for Glasgow. I think that's the reality. It was going to be a tough season with the kind of lack of recruitment. I think looking forward, COVID, like you say, is going to play an impact on the autumn. But then the Six Nations around the corner, we don't quite know what state the world's going to be in by then. It doesn't look like it'll be that different potentially. So look, I just think there's a lot about Glasgow's performance I admire tonight, and there's a lot of work on defensively, but actually, you know, cohesive-wise in attack, there was a lot of endeavour, a lot of intent, and I guess, again, a real sporting cliche, it would have to be a week to week. If they get too hung up on looking at things they can't control, it could be a long season. But there's a lot of good stuff in there. There's a lot of guys who have been there through some hard times, so they'll keep driving those standards, keep pulling the team forward, and you know, hopefully they do get some players released. I know Danny Wilson will be banging on Gregor's door. I'm not sure he'll be on the Christmas card list. I think he'll be desperate to have some players back to try and aid this Glasgow team, because that's an important part of Scottish rugby.
Well, that's the Glasgow resume from John Barclay and the Ulster resume from Stephen Ferris. Let's now hear from the Guinness PRO14 man of the match, player of the match, Sean Reedy, talking to the former Ulster scrum half Paul Marshall and getting his medal from the captain Sam Carter.
Sean Reedy, Guinness player of the match. That's the last 2 times at home you've had that accolade. Just how much are you enjoying your rugby at the minute?
Yeah, it's good. Boys are playing well. Tough game. Fair credit to Glasgow. They really brought it to us that first 20 and gave us a fairly hefty wake-up call. So I'm just glad we can put in the full 80 and get the bonus point out of it.
You mentioned Glasgow started brightly there. What was said on the pitch after the early score to try and regather your focus?
Yeah, I think we just weren't really sticking our tackles, letting them play a little bit. They were getting some good runners off 9, so once we got that sorted out, we could get a bit of flow into the game. So pretty happy, yeah.
And forward dominance led to the first 4 tries off the maul or off the scrum. How pleasing as a forward, Sean, is that?
Yeah, we worked really hard on that during the week. We're very hard on ourselves, and credit to the guys that weren't in the 23 tonight. They really push that week on week, so full credit to them, yeah.
Well done this evening, you're superb.
Cheers, Marshy.